Hello, everyone. Deborah Roth back with another edition of playing with our inner goddess team to really bring back, to really acknowledge that what this world needs most right now is a huge dose of divinely feminine energy. And that is completely gender free, frankly, because we all carry masculine and feminine energy within us. Left brain, right brain, yin yang. There are many ways that you can talk about it and describe it. Sorry, I'm kind of adjusting things still here. And today we are going to, it's so interesting. This is a name, the goddess that we're acknowledging today, that we're honoring today, is one that we've all heard the name and maybe not necessarily exactly. And we have an idea of who she was, and that is Nike. Nike, does that sound familiar? She is everywhere. I mean, she's everywhere with the athletic company, clothing company and shoe company. But she's everywhere. Her symbolism is everywhere, which I'll share with you in a minute. But I'd love to give you some of her background. Of course, I always learn so much when I do these too, when I do the research for all of these lovely things, all these lovely goddesses. And I'm bringing Nike in because we, as of March 19th, the equinox, when the sun entered Aries, we are now in the Aries season, which is this fiery, dynamic, full steam ahead, strong, me first. That's another one of the Aries definers. And Nike had all that strength. And in fact, it's what made her so invaluable to Zeus, to King of the Gods, and in all kinds of, to the point where she was invoked, and she still symbolizes. She was invoked in ancient Greek times for victory, for whether it was in war or whether it was in the games, in Olympic Games. And there were so many depictions of her. I just figured I'd share a few with her. This is her, and she's almost always depicted carrying a feather for peace, and she's known as the wing goddess. So she's almost always depicted with wings. Here she looks like a warrior, which she was, but vanquishing. So she certainly had that role. She certainly had that strength and that speed to do that. But then she's also soldiers and athletes called on her, and here she's supporting a fighter, or is it an athlete? It's hard to tell, either one, because they would call on her because they felt that she would help them live forever, at least live a long time. And there are a couple interesting reasons for that. And this one is just a statue of, and I can't remember where it is, but shows both with a wreath, which is the laurel wreath, which we know is a sign of victory. And she also got her feather. She's also got her feather for peace, and of course her wings. So she is the goddess of victory, of speed, of strength. She was the daughter of Styx, as in the river Styx, which was the border between the mortal world and the underworld, and Pallas, as in Pallas Athena. She is often associated with Athena later on in ancient times as well. And because she's one of the daughters, and there were actually she had several siblings of Styx, of the representation, the personification of the border of death and life. That's one of the reasons that she would be called on to bring, if not immortality, at least a long life. And that was felt for a long time. Hermes / Mercury later took on this role, but she was considered for a long time to be the messenger between humanity, between mortals and the gods. So some of her mythology, probably the biggest one that she's known for, I think I mentioned, I've been reading so much about it this afternoon, I'm not sure what I've said out loud, that she was Zeus's charioteer. And at the point when, if you know your Greek mythology, you know that Zeus was one of the sons, one of the Olympians of Kronos, who was a Titan. And at some point, Zeus sought to overthrow his father and the other Titans so that Zeus and his siblings, the Olympians, could rise to power. So he put it out to all of the gods and goddesses at that point, and promised them that they would be awarded if they sided with him in the, what did they call it? Well, it was the War of the Titans, the Titanocracy. And so Styx and Pallas were some of the first to come to his aid, and Nike had 3 siblings. I don't have their, but they all represent strength and valor, and they all had different names that symbolized that. And they all came and joined forces with the Olympians, with Zeus. And it was the charioteer at that point. Nike was fearless, and the charioteers in general in ancient Greece were considered to be like the guiding, that they guided the fate of whoever they were carrying. So their role was crucial. And so she was side by side with Zeus as he conquered his father and took control of Mount Olympus, and was therefore ever after his charioteer. And in fact, she and her siblings protected him and were always gathered around the throne. So she had, even though she was kind of a minor goddess in some ways, I mean, she wasn't one of the ones that you hear about, and the primary, the Greek, Zeus's sisters and brothers, but she was pretty important. And in that role, she was the one that soldiers would call on for valor as they went into battle, and literally for victory as they did. And that's where the wreath of victory comes in too. So let's see, what else do I want to tell you about her? There's so much here, and I think I've covered so much of it. She was also a big surprise because she was the goddess of victory. Once the Romans came on board and conquered the Greeks, she was known in Roman mythology and the Roman pantheon as Victoria. And she's also so the feather that I showed you in those pictures, both the feathers and the lyre, or there were different instruments that she's often depicted with, because they represented the celebration that would happen when you were victorious. So she was also associated with victory dance and victory songs. So it wasn't all, just super competitive and we got to wipe out our enemies, but there was this element of celebration with her too, which I thought was kind of cool. Let's see. So in addition, and this was, I didn't know about, she not only obviously I think everybody in the world has heard of Nike, the athletic shoe company at this point, but she's also, pictures of her are shown since 1928. The Olympic medal on the flip side has a picture of Nike on it, and she also holds the shield upon which the victor's name is inscribed. I love this one. She's part of I'm just picking a couple of these that I found. She's part of the hood ornament on a Rolls-Royce car, shows her. On Honda motorcycles, they use a symbol of her as part of the company's logo. There were a couple other ones too, but I think that's what I'll give you for now. So she's someone to call on, and I always try and make relevant. Why do we care about these myths? Why do we care about these gods and goddesses and the archetypes that they represent? Because I think there's something magical in that. There's something that speaks to our collective unconscious, to bring in gods and goddesses. In our case, I just highlights the goddesses from cultures all around the world, that we can tap into those very same qualities that we want, whether it's for calm and peace, whether it's for victory or success, or speed, like Nike is. And so think about that. I mean, my question for you is, where in your life right now could you use that support, that strength, that full steam ahead? I mean, literally, she's the charioteer, and that's part of that Aries season that we're in, is that full steam ahead energy. So where in your life do you need to invoke her? Do you need to bring in that archetype into your own being for somewhere in your life that you want to create victory, not necessarily competitively over someone, but and maybe it's a victory over some sort of internal issue that you have that you want to feel like you've accomplished. So she has many different layers, as I think all of these archetypes, all of these goddess archetypes do. So I always start doing this on Instagram and Facebook Live. They end up on my YouTube channel. You can go there to subscribe and see all the zillions of goddesses I've highlighted since the pandemic, since August of 2020. So definitely check that out. And there's also on the YouTube version, there's a little eye in the corner of the video that you can click on that really gives kind of more background about why I'm so passionate about bringing the qualities and the essence of the divine feminine back into our much needed, overwhelmed world today. So that's, I think, the basics of Nike. I will share with you. I'm changing the words a little bit, but I love to sing. You know that I just have to say hi to Bob and Aaron and Virginia. Hi. Those are the ones I can see anyway. I love to sing. You all know, if you know me, if you've watched for a while, I sing in a wonderful women's chorus in New York City called the So Harmoniums. We have a concert coming up on May 11th. And we have, and so I have a ton, and I've led, women's circles for 27 years or something. So I love to share a chant. I love to sing. I love the idea of spiritual chanting, which is a form of vocal meditation. So I will end tweaking the words that I have sung this many times, usually around Christmas and solstice. But this kind of in honor of the fiery aspect of Aries and Nike as she embodies it. So here goes. Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, bring to us victory, strength, and speed. Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, bring to us victory, speed, and strength. So just think where in your life, open your head, your heart, open your valorous self to where you could use some speed and strength and some of that fiery Nike energy as we move through the rest of this Aries season. Thanks much for being with me, and I'll see you again. Am I doing it next week? Well, I think I'm on a break next week. But enjoy. And I'd love to hear any goddesses that you would like to know more about and highlight too. Thanks. Bye.